All right, Al, thank you very much. 149-pound championship underway. It features Brian Wells, the #1 seeded wrestler from Pascack Hills, against Mike Mazzeo of Emerson Borough. And Jerry, Mike Mazzeo is in the unenviable position of having to try to beat a fella that has beaten him once this year in the districts, and that was in the final, and once this year in the finals of the region.
Two outstanding wrestlers. It's almost a shame that they're at the same weight class. I really think if you could put a different color uniform on Wells, who's just taken the 2-0 lead, and I think if you could convince Mike Mazzeo that he was from another school, we might see a different kind of final. Mazzeo has wrestled that well and that tough out here, but it's Wells who comes in with probably as fine a total record as anybody that we are observing today in the finals of the championships, and a title to defend.
Two more points for back points given to Wells. He leads 4-0 as they go out of bounds. There isn't much that Brian Wells hasn't won in his career. 4-time district champ, 4-time region champ. Jerry mentioned his state championship at 142 pounds last year.
Young man with a total record of 108 wins and just 8 losses.
Have to believe there are a few schools who are interested in his services.
What's going to happen out here in a very selfish way, he's not upset that Sam Cole has lost the championship. It's now down to 2 champions to defend and to hold their title, himself and Andy Iliff, who follows him, and they know that they're both alive for the Outstanding Wrestler Award. One person who was under consideration, Cole, has now been eliminated. Others are going to be considered, but he has one of the inside tracks by being a defending champion.
And he leads 6-0. Getting back to the Todd Young interview for just a moment, interesting comment that he made, that he didn't really begin wrestling until 8th grade, hasn't wrestled much over the summer. So often we see some wrestlers begin at a very early age in the youth programs, and they wrestle all over the country, and by the time they're a senior, much of the promise of their younger years has gone away.
Matt Kafari probably wrestled 120 matches this summer.
Wow.
Now you have someone that we've just talked to, Young, who may have wrestled a few or maybe none at all. It really is up to the individual, the kind of program they're in, the coaches that they have. I think the nice thing is we've seen young men out here today win championships that started really in 2nd or 3rd grade. You know that a Jason Hawk and others did if they were in the Peaburg system. You also see others that started in 8th and 9th grade. So much is still inside the individual. As coaches, we talk about the weight training and the midget programs and how necessary it is, yes, for many individuals. And then there's that intangible. It's what's inside a young man himself, the belief he has in his own abilities, the reaching of that potential. You don't have to be somebody that's wrestled 10 years to win a state championship.
6-0 advantage for Brian Wells. Mazzeo looking for some back points, won't get them here.
Almost a nice tilt. Would like to bring it back to that 6-2, 6-3 area. Right now his mind is saying again, I'm going to lose to him. Again, one more time. No one expects me to win. He can't start as late as Durso did in that other weight class. If he's going to make any kind of a comeback, it has to start now against somebody of Wells' caliber.
Wells has boosted his lead now to 8-0. Psychologically, even though he's saying to himself he can throw caution to the wind, he is the underdog, nothing much is expected of him, he's also going out there saying, not again.
And he's also saying, I'm a junior. Wells is a senior. He's not going to be here next year in this weight class when I am. A nice switch by Mazzeo, coming from underneath to behind to get his first points.
And it's 8-2. It was 10-6 score in the district finals between these two, 10-4 in the region finals. And he's getting some back points, so he's going to narrow the gap here.
The tilt that he couldn't get before, he's now beginning to have work for him.
And it's 8-4, and Stan Woods, his coach, standing up, yelling encouragement. All of a sudden, Mazzeo might be saying, hey, wait a minute, I don't know what happened the last 2 times, but I'm in a battle here, and I can win this thing.
when he got those first 2 points with the switch, and then all of a sudden built the confidence up to the tilt. And now is taking a shot with the cradle. Wells good enough to break it. Wells coming out in front, and he's going to score from that.
He gets his one. It's 9-4. Beautiful move by Wells, and he's going to get back points. Very smooth.
Nice carry in for the 2 and getting more from it, as you said, Matt.
He leads 13-4, and the second period comes to an end. So just when Mazzeo seemed to be back in the match, it's almost as if Wells said, well, let me show you what I've got, and let me prove that I am the defending state champion, and you're going to have a tough time.
There's a shifting of the gears that the best have, and we just saw it with Wells, allowing his opponent to get back into the match for a second and then shifting that gear, moving into high gear, and getting the points not only right back, but even coming out ahead in the exchange.
13-4 is the score. And it is now 14-4.
And some effect for the next wrestler that's going to be on camera for us as Mazzeo picks up 2 more with a nice takedown. But the brother of Mike Mazzeo, Joe, who stands in the wings, watching his brother, cheering, the emotion back there. Will it drain him or will it pump him up as far as the next championship is concerned? How unusual to have 2 brothers back-to-back in the finals of the state championships in New Jersey.
1:15 left in the third period. 8-point lead for Brian Wells, and he now bumps it up to a 10-point advantage, 16-6.
Mazzeo hoping to get that switch again, but Wells smart, spreading him out, staying on the edge, content to stay right there with the lead that he has.
Wrestlers at the edge of the mat. Wells dragging Mazzeo back in. 45 seconds left, and now we'll come back to the center. You know, we talked about Bloomfield as we take a look at Mike's brother Joe preparing for his match at 159 pounds. We talked about Bloomfield having its first ever individual state champion in Art Kafari, who will be Al Reynoso as a guest at our next break. But Emerson has never had an individual state champion. Here they have 2 in the final, and Stan Woods has been around for a long time and a very successful program.
Outstanding program, very fine coach, individual that has tremendous numbers out. As I've said, you don't know how many fine coaches and fine programs exist that never get a state champion. Hunnard and Central went through an 11 or 12-year period of having more wrestlers down here than anybody, and no one could break that barrier of winning a championship again. Union High School, outstanding program. They're looking for their first champion from back in the 50s. Roselle Park goes back to the early 50s since their champion. Very fine programs. This is the uniqueness of being a champion in New Jersey.
Brian Wells will successfully defend his state championship, though at a different weight class. He's now a 2-time state champ. Won it at 142 pounds last year, moves up to 149 and wins this year. 16-9, but you get the feeling that Mike Mazzeo, very proud, really did himself proud. Could have said, listen, second place again's not so bad, but worked hard, fought hard, and gave Wells a run for his money. But it is Brian Wells, the senior, ending his career in New Jersey at a record of 109 wins, 8 losses, 4 district championships, 4 region championships, 2 state championships. You can't do it much better than that.
But what's he done lately, Matt?
And there's Mazzeo, dejected, but as you mentioned earlier, he's a junior. He'll have another year, but right now the sting of defeat, pretty bitter. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back with the 159-pound championship. Al is standing by with Andy Iliff and Brian Wells.
Okay, here we are with 2 returning state champions who successfully defended their titles. And Brian Wells is the first one here to my left. Brian, you wrestled Mazzeo in the finals. Was it a little more difficult? You beat him 3 times during the course of the season. How was it this time?
It's always a little bit more difficult wrestling the same guy more than once. You pretty much know each other's moves, and you have to come up with other moves to get your points with. And he's a tough wrestler, so I knew I was going to have a tough match. I had the butterflies before the match and everything, and I was just hoping for the best, give it my best shot.
Well, congratulations. You did a real good job. And here we have Andy Eiler from Newton. Andy, winning the state championship the second time. Is there any more pressure the second time than there is the first time?
Well, every time, you do something successful, and the next time you do it, there's more pressure on you, but it just makes you work a little bit harder. Because usually when you win it, they're expecting you to win all the time, be great out there, but really all it is it's individual now at the states, and you just have to take one match at a time and just block out the crowd and forget the pressure, because if you think about too much of the pressure, what people are thinking, then you're not going to wrestle as well.
Okay, well, congratulations to both of you, both defending their state championships successfully here at Princeton. And back to you, Matt and Jerry.